even though it's referring to the back to the garment, but because it's usage of a pronoun, so it could be more inclusive. To aleha anit would be including also other materials as well. Techabes asher yazaleh techabes. That's where it stops, right? Yeah, that's the pasuk. That it will sprinkle on it, you should launder. That's including the leather. Maybe I could also include the leather, the hide before it's skin. Talmud leimar beged. No, it needs to be a garment. Ma beged rei lekabel tuma, afkol rei lekabel tuma. Just like a garment could become tamei, could contract impurity. So also it needs to be a material that could contract impurity, excluding the cloth, excluding the hide, while it's still attached to the animal. The Rabbi Yehuda. Now, notice, Rabbi Yehuda doesn't say that beged that is mekabel tuma. It says that's fit to be mekabel tuma. Now, why is it fit to be mekabel tuma? If it's removed off the animal, even though it hasn't been tanned yet. The reason is because there is such a time when people can use leather that's not tanned. That is, if they want to use it for a mat to sit on or something. Not before, if they're not going to turn it into clothing. They used to have these things for the babies. They would cut out like a sheepskin or something. It was just like a carpet type of thing. It wasn't tanned the same way. The hair was still on it and all of that. So, if a person would decide that I'm going to use this as is, then that would be considered its finished product. Even though normally that's not what it's done, but he could decide that he's going to do that. So Rabbi Yehuda holds that since in his mind he can make up, I'm going to use it like this, right? I'm going to use it like this. So then that would be Makabel Tumah. So since it's eligible, if he would decide so in his mind, so that's already Makabel Tumah. Rabbi Elazar Reimer Beged. Elazar says a garment. Ainli Ela Beged. I only know a garment, which is wool and linen. Minayin Rabbi Sak. How do I know that another material, which is made out of goat wool, which is cashmere, I think it's v'chol minim begadim, and other types of materials? How do I know that those are also considered garments that you would need to launder them if the blood of the chatos gets on it? Tamalei marshal techabis, that it goes on it needs to launder, and because the pronoun. And it's not specific, so it's inclusive of those other materials. Maybe I'm also going to include leather after it's removed from the animal. Just like a garment contracts tuma, also anything that contracts tuma. Now notice that he doesn't say anything that's eligible to contract tuma. He says anything that does contract tuma. Called davar makabel. It has to be already, and that's excluding leather that's removed from the animal, but it hasn't been tanned yet. My binayu, what a difference is between these two opinions. Amar Abaya matlis pchus mishalish binayu. If I have a cloth that's less than three fingers, so it's a very tiny cloth, we would call it a patch. Manda Amaroi, the one that says it's eligible, which was the first opinion of Rabbi Yehuda. So a patch is potentially eligible to contract tumah. Hanamiroi, why could it contract tumah? It's not a garment. It's less than 3 by 3. It needs to be 3 by 3. That's why the size of those cloths are 3 by 3. It needs to be beged. So.
To be a garment, you're saying? Like
right, it has to be something that would be...
like a mini t-shirt.
Yeah. So, Dibay Chashavala, because if he wants, and if he thinks about that he's going to use it as a patch on his garment, then it becomes a garment. Because that's, you see, a lot of things in Tumah have to do with, is it a finished product or not? Is it actually something that has usage? Now, who decides if it has usage? Well, certain things a person in his own mind can decide. It's like my kids. My wife would be making some cake or something, they could decide that the batter is the finished product. For my wife, no, it has to be. I still have to put it in the oven. But there's different thoughts going on there. So also, someone could have a garment that maybe not. But for him, okay, this is all I wanted. This could be the finished. Okay. So this patch, it could be a finished product. So mandam davar makabel tuma. The one that says that it needs to be makabel tuma, which is Rabbi Lazar, this is not makabel tuma. It's not large enough. Rava says something else. What's the difference between them? Beged shechish v'le'el etzura. Talking about a garment that he still wants to turn into a design. He's going to embroider it. It could be now. That's the difference. Manda maroi, if it's eligible, hanami roi. This is eligible, yes, because if he wants, he could decide, I'm not going to put that design on it. He can say, no, I'm going to, I'm just going to use it as is, just like a tablecloth sheet, whatever. It's not the finished product. Rava Amar, this can't be Rava because we just had Rava, so who is this? Ikada Amri Rava Amar. That's in the Shittim Kabes. It says, some say that Rava says, so it is Rava. It's another version of what Rava said. Some say Rava had a yeshiva, so a lot of times it's unclear. Sometimes we have Amar Rav, Amar Rav Papa. We don't know who's, because Rav Papa would say in Rava's name, so we don't know who, if it was him or if it was Rava. So some say that Rava says, Oitzva, the Chashav Alei Lakatza. It was a large, like a beach towel, but we're talking about leather here, that you would eat on it or you would lay on it, and
like a blanket.
Like a blanket, but it was used for the floor.
Yeah.
So he intended to cut it.
Shatiach.
Right.
A mat.
A mat.
Those times they used to eat on the floor. They used to take a mat or carpet, put on the floor and eat.
Right. He wanted to make it more round or something. Ikka Beinai, that's the difference. Manda Maroi, the one that says that eligible to be Makabel Tuma, so Hanami Ru'uya, this is potentially eligible. Manda Amar Davar Makabel Tuma, Le Makabel Tuma, Ad Makatzalu. It needs to be already finished. If you haven't decided that this is how you're going to use it, then it's not the finished product. Vahatanya. Now, the word Vaha in Aramaic could mean but, which means like however we have a problem, or it could mean this. So many times Vahatanya is saying, but we learned in a brisa differently, and every once in a while it means, and this is what it was taught in a brisa. So sometimes it's a proof and sometimes it's a question. When it's a question, Rashi usually doesn't tell us that it's a question, but when it's a proof, Rashi tells us b'nichusa. That means that you read it without a question. You see, they didn't have question marks, so Rashi would have to tell you in what tone to read it. Vahatanya, and this is what it was taught in a brayso. If you have this mat that it was thought for use as a sheet on the floor to sit on, and he thought to make it round, to make it more presentable. It's pure until it's completed. Right. Right. Okay. Are we holding? Let's go further. Ein tong tibus doesn't require, certain things don't require laundering, and this is referring to, I believe, the whole garment, right? Yeah. You don't have to wash the whole garment, only that one spot. Minani mili. From where are these words? The Tana Rabbanan that the rabbis taught. I could have thought that if a drop of the garment is dirty, from the blood spritzed on a portion of that, you would have to launder the whole garment. It says that it's sprinkled. Only that spot alone. When it comes to Hagala, so because we're machmer by metal, we say that metal it absorbs throughout the whole thing. We're strict with metal. So if you use a spoon, you stick it in your coffee, and it was a fleshik spoon, we kasha the whole spoon. By blood on a garment, you would just have to wash off that section of it. That's a chumrah by metal.
So what happens if you design something like a carpet, make it round, and then you decided you want it to be square after you finish it? So is it considered a finished product or not? It's technically
Your mind, it's interesting. Rashi says that your mind can make it a finished product, but then your mind can't remove it unless something else happens to it. So, machshava ina motzia midei machshava. Because your mind can't take it out. That would be a way of getting everything tar. So now I'm going to do something with it.
Where does Rashi say that?
Rashi on the iboy mevatlei lemachshavtai. The hod kaimel on machshava ina motzia midei machshava linyan hitzia miteres tuma. Tanan, right? See that up there? Interesting. Something that's fit to be Mikabel Tumah. This was the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda. Stomach Rabbi Yehuda. That's Rabbi Yehuda's opinion. Which is interesting, because usually a Stam Mishnah is Rabbi Meir. But we don't know Rabbi Meir's opinion anyway. And later on we have Rabbi Yehuda. So that would be Rabbi Yehuda's opinion. Roy Lakibas. Something that's fit to be laundered, lemute, called the bar grade or anything, that doesn't get laundered, but rather gets scraped off. Now what would that be? See, we may figure it out later, a little bit later, from leather or other things. Let's see. Whether it's a garment or whether it's a cloth or whether it's other type of material, etc. And it also says over there, and also leather. Lememra. Is this to say the arba kibasu that leather can be laundered? V'raminu, I'll ask you a contradiction. If there's a little bit of spit or some sort of dirt, you can wipe it off with a cloth. We're talking about on Shabbos. If you have something leather on Shabbos, you put water on it, you can get it off with the water, because that's not considered laundering on leather, because it doesn't absorb into the garment. So we see that leather doesn't get laundered. And over here we said that we need something. What do you need to wash the blood off? Only something that gets laundered. It's machlokes. Some say leather does get laundered, some say not. The Tanya was taught in the Brisa, beged vasak mechabsei. It says that if you have a cloth, either wool or linen, or it's made out of other materials, you launder it. Hakeli, if it's a vessel, v'ha'or, if it's leather, megarera, you scrape it. That means that it doesn't get laundered. That's the opinion of the Rabbanan. Achirim, which is Reb Meir, you mentioned earlier. Habeged vasak var mechabsei, including leather, you also launder it. That means he holds that leather does get laundered. Va'akeli megarerai, but if it's on a vessel, then you scrape it off. Okay. According to which opinion would it go? This is Reb Chia Barashi says, Zimnin Sagiyan Havikaim na Kamei de Rav. Many times I was in front of Rav, and I cleansed his shoes with water, and it was on Shabbos. Now, if on Shabbos you're not allowed to launder, so how was he allowed to put water on Rav's shoes to clean it off? Shoes were leather. So come on, who does it go like? It must go like the Rabbanan, that hold that water on leather.
No laundering.
It's not laundering. We'll have to make a thing. They used to say water on wood, no good. Water on leather, not laundering. I have to do some for the rabbis. Amar Rava says, is there such an opinion that holds that leather does not get laundered? We have a pasuk that says that it does. This by tzaras, I call kliar asher techabes. That could be washed. Those things get washed. So you see that leather could be laundered. The pasuk is talking about a soft leather. The Mishnah is talking about a soft leather that it gets laundered. And Kipliki, what's the machlekes between the Rabbanan and Rav Meir? Bakashin of the hard leather, the thick leather. Amar Rav Chia, however, Rav Chia said, this is, I guess, not. Is it Rav Chia bar Rav Ashi? Probably. Chia bar Ashi? Can't be Rav Chia because Rav Chia is Rav's uncle. What's this vav over here? Vadam Rav Chia, it's the same one. Zimnin Sagian Avikimna Kamei Derav Shichshche Masani B'Maya. That many times I was in front of Rav and I washed his clothing, I washed his shoes with water. That must be Bekashin. That must be that it was hard. Ukarabanan. It goes according to the Rabbanan that hold that it's not laundering if it's hard. Hadam Rava. Then Rava went back and he said, he returned, he changed his mind. Lav Milsi Da'amri. What I said is not accurate. I said that there's a difference between soft leather and hard leather, and the pasuk is talking about soft leather, and the machlek is about hard leather. Neku Nemale Lakra. Let us get up and establish the pasuk, T'chi Ksivan Baraki Ksivan, that what is the pasuk talking about? It's talking about soft leather. Mila Yaskinan Bechli Asalagia. I wish I knew what that actually meant, but it means it's a hard leather. I don't know the root. It's probably a Greek word or something. Habam Medina Sayam, that comes from overseas. And the Kamarachmana, and the pasuk says Nibai Kibas, that it still needs to be laundered. So that means that even hard leather would be what the pasuk is referring to. Elamarava Tzaras is different. Even the Mikufa Kaparcha, Mechalchale Yamashvale Rach. So it gets, because the when you have something on the outside that spills on it, so yes, you scrape it off. But when the Tzaras comes from the thing itself. So then I have to launder it from the inside. So even if it's hard leather, but it needs to be soaked in water to get rid of it. When something spritzes on the outside, that's not laundry on leather. You just scrape it off. But tzaras grows on the inside, so therefore you have to launder it to soak it to get it out. That would be considered laundry.
Hard leather is like a work boot leather versus like a wallet leather.
That's in the Gemara. It's hard to know what it means. How hard is hard? How Yeah, unless the commentaries tell you like a measurement of. Okay, let's stop over here. Shekayach.
I mean, like you haven't cautious
Oh, you asked me something. Yeah.
No, but I'm saying that you haven't cautious the jugs that they used to drink out of that were leather can't be absorbed.
Right. So those you do hagala on.
Oh yeah.